Welcome back to another devlog. After a lot of underlying optimization, I'm getting closer to my vision for Starframe Station. Today we are looking at the major camera update. The old camera controls were terrible, so I built a dynamic reference frame system. The zooming is super smooth and intuitively keeps the cursor pinned. Here you can see those reference frames as well. You can now left click and drag to pan, and the camera automatically adjusts its angle to relevant gravity. I also added a autofocus mode that locks onto shapes in the middle of the screen. I had some issues with the gravity aligning. It's a tricky problem. There was also this one bug where it never stopped panning, but I got it all working eventually. Here we are perfectly tracking a spinning boulder on the surface. I ran into another bug where surface boulders on tiny asteroids would violently shoot off into space. When setting the random spin of the asteroid, I first calculate the max potential spin where the centrifugal force would perfectly cancel out the gravity. But this got messed up when I added the buried boulders, since their velocities compared to the asteroid were very different, so it could hugely affect the velocity of the asteroid. The fix I eventually found was to match the velocities before merging the buried boulders to the asteroid. I then made it more stable when you move the shape that the camera is actively following, resulting in this fun behavior. I started optimizing how the zones work, where I accidentally made it so you could delete the actual zone when you're in God mode. Previously, to detect if a shape was fully inside the zone, I was checking if all vertices were inside the zone vertices, which was very expensive. But this is now query based instead. However, it's still a bit tricky because the query doesn't tell us if the shape is fully inside the zone. What it does give us are the deepest points in the zone and the surface points. So by making an additional query to the closest point on the shape from above the surface, we can determine whether it's fully inside or not. This, however, did not work for circles, which I found out, since that query only gives single points. But that was easy enough implementing a custom behavior for. I then got started on generating a rig class where we store all bodies that are connected. I visualized that here by coloring the shapes. This is going to be the foundation for future optimizations to the resource traversing, for example when a wheel is consuming flux from the storage. That's it for this update. Try Starframe Station for free today, Steam link in the description.